So there's a similar question though, that I think, Jackie, probably you mentioned that you work with engineering operations. Sometimes I do hear people say, hey, you have product ops, there's engineering ops. What are the role differences, how you coordinate? Not every company has this. Sometimes product ops actually also kind of expand the role bigger to have both the product ops and the program management, sometimes even technical program management. But if you do have that kind of setup, how do you work together? What are the differences in roles and responsibility?
Sure. So, I mean, just as you have sales operations and operations in the other arms, you've got engineering operations, and they focus on, at Tealium, mainly like production and development environment operations related things. But general operations within that organization. But there's times where we need to collaborate, and there's times where our kind of operating methods overlap. And so when those instances come up, we partner together to make sure that both sides are getting what they need in the most efficient way. So really the way that you would partner with any other stakeholder within a group or an organization, you just interface with them and bridge that gap and make sure that everybody's set up for success.
Absolutely. To add to that and to provide an example, so when we talk about release management, we talk about pre-release and post-release. Engineering operations looks at, and quality, of course, looks at pre-release. So the testing and the validation, where once it goes to markets, that's when product operation comes in. And we think, okay, a feature went to market at a preview or early adoption stage, meaning it's available to one or a handful of select customers. How do we get it to general availability? That's where product operations comes in. So we can understand and influence release, pre-release, but we really look at the post-release. Where we collaborate is, okay, when we talk about performance, for example, load testing, what does it look like to go from one stage to the next? And that's where I'm looking for engineering to tell me and to guide me. And then I incorporate that into the playbooks and into the process and checklists. But that's coming from them. But right now we're very collaborative. I meet with them on a weekly basis.
That's a really great differentiator, and like engineering operations, making the things move through the pipe as fast as they possibly can. And then us making sure enablement is happening on the flip side of the marketing planning and what is our release strategy in terms of the messaging out to customers and such.
Right. And it's very interesting because when I first, a couple company before I, run both product ops and strategic planning and also technical program management. And then later on, when my previous company, Feeds, when I joined them, I helped them build up the product organization. I didn't, quote unquote, have the TPM or Scrum teams under me. It was just me doing product operations and working with the Scrum team. But over time, we realized it's actually a more especially for smaller companies. So we have a very strong partnership, and over time we kind of roll into the one organization. But in general, I think it's very similar, where product operations is really focusing on both the before and after. We call it before Scrum and after Scrum, meaning that the getting insights, the getting aligned goals, and then understanding customers, understanding our strategic focus, and align the roadmaps across teams. So these are before the engineering Scrum process, or before the execution. And then as soon as then that's the handoff start to happen. Say, do we have the resources? Do we have all the teams lined up? Do we have the architectural alignment so that the tech team and the TPM started to interact with us, TPM/engineering ops. And then by the time it's closer to release, then again, like a products coming in more in terms of dividing on the launch to market plan and understanding like what is the throttle criteria. So how do we measure these data and dashboards? So it sounds very similar to your model.